The building of the Berlin Wall and its effect on communism. In 1961, high tensions of Cold War reached Berlin. Between 1949 and 1961, approximately 2.5 million East Germans fled to West Germany due to the expanding communist regime, and this overall had a detrimental impact on German economy.
After World War II, during the 1960s in Europe, the Soviet Union was expanding its borders as well as the idea of communism to nations such as Romania, Poland, and the region of East Germany.
On August 15, 1961, the Berlin Wall was built between democratic West Berlin and communist-governed East Berlin. The main purpose of the wall was a communist act of desperation to continue the flow of communism throughout Europe. The wall also prevented the mixing of socialist ideas with communist ideologies. The wall also had a purpose to prevent civilians from defecting to either side, which basically means to cross over between West and East Berlin.
The wall not only separated ideas and cultures, but the wall divided many families, loved ones, and friends. This caused the Berlin Wall to be a symbol of hatred and divide for the German people. This unique image by projective cities shows that how two places so close to each other can still be so far apart, and that separation can be caused by a physical man-made barrier. The wall was 140 kilometers long with two barriers. It consisted of reinforced concrete as well as wired fence. The wall also had 30 observation towers, and the distance between East Berlin and West Berlin was approximately 43 kilometers. This distance between East and West Berlin got to be known as the death strip because when emigrants tried to cross over to either side, they got shot down by the police, and this area resulted in the largest amount of casualties.
The Berlin Wall was essentially a physical symbol of the Cold War, and it emphasized the conflict between democratic ideals and communist ideals. The events going on in West Berlin, also known as the German Democratic Republic, and communist East Berlin, had a monumental effect on the United States and all of Europe. Many historians correlate the Berlin Wall to the Iron Curtain, which refers to the control the Soviet Union took over various Eastern European nations. Even though the Berlin Wall was an actual structure and the Iron Curtain was just a metaphor for an expansion of Soviet control, both the wall and the curtain separated people, ideas, and cultures, and overall limited the freedom of individuals. In June of 1963, President John F. Kennedy of the United States of America went to visit various Western European nations to spread goodwill and to strengthen bonds between allies. When President Kennedy reached Germany on June 26th, approximately 2 years after the wall was built, he gave a speech at the Berlin Wall near the Rudolf Wilde Platz to an eager crowd of approximately 450,000 West Berliners. President Kennedy was supporting the democracy of the people of West Berlin, and it was there he delivered the famous line, "I am a Berliner." His goal was to make the people of West Berlin want to be freed from the grasp of communist control. In his famous speech, President Kennedy gave the perspective of the United States on the conflict and stated how he was committed to help West Berlin achieve freedom, democracy, and progress. In this excerpt from near the end of the speech, Kennedy identified communism as the enemy and promised to provide American support to the people of Berlin to eradicate communist control. He admired their resolve to be free, and he hopes for their freedom and unity between the people of Germany. In his speech, President Kennedy says, "Ich bin ein Berliner," meaning I am a Berliner. This shows his commitment to the people of Berlin and his desire to help them and to stop the flow of communism throughout Europe. As stated earlier in the video, the Berlin Wall was despised by many people of Germany. On August 16, 1961, the same year the wall was built, this picture was taken by an unknown photographer in front of the Schönberg Town Hall. Here, a crowd was protesting the building of the wall. This image compares the German communist politician and East Berlin head of state, Walter Ulbricht, to Nazi Adolf Hitler. The German translation of the poster in the back reads, "Get rid of Ulbricht and the SED," which was a communist party taking part in building the wall. This reveals the growing tensions at the time and how greater issues could arise, leading to the downfall in communism due to the hatred of the people. Even though President Kennedy's speech gave a singular view of the government and did not include views of the people, and the photo provided only the one perspective of the public and excluded views of the government, the effects of the Berlin Wall on the Cold War can still clearly be seen. The wall not only caused separation, but it also slowed down the flow of communism in Europe. Its impact on the world was monumental, and its effect on the Cold War was even greater. The Berlin Wall caused people to stand up for freedom, leading to gradual downfall in communist control and more want for democracy. The Berlin Wall essentially brought a quick end to the Cold War. As this video comes to a conclusion, just consider this. How would the Cold War be affected if the Berlin Wall was never built?